Hello, welcome to Palmerama Reviews, where we look at the wacky, sometimes woeful, but always wonderful world of film. In the video today, we are looking at a film that I saw the trailer for while doing research for Run For Your Wife, and I think it actually surpasses Run For Your Wife as the worst modern British film ever made. It's also animated. Here's a clip.
Sir Billi, you're so clever. I'm sure that plan will work.
Yeah, and I had to watch the whole thing. And yeah, I regretted it. It's easily the most hideous animated film I've ever seen. This is Sir Billi. Sir Billi, or going by its original title, Guardian of the Highlands, which was its UK name but was changed to Sir Billi for the international market, as well as that must have done over there. And it has the prestige of being the only fully funded independent Scottish animated film. And though while Scottish people are fiercely proud of anything that comes out of Scotland, I think this might be one of the few rare occasions where it's going to have the opposite effect. It's also Sean Connery's last film. Yep, he came out of retirement to do this film. His last actual full-on on-screen acting film was The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which was both a critical and commercial flop. So no wonder he retired after doing that. I'm guessing he didn't see the full script when wanting to do this. It's based off a short called Sir Billi the Vet, made in 2006. From the looks of it, they didn't update the engine. It was written and directed by Sacha and Tessa Hartman, who seems like the only other thing they've done apart from this. Sacha, he was musical director for a couple of Gemma Collins' Diva in Lockdown episodes, if you can believe it. And they've both starred in The Real Housewives of Jersey. Yeah, squandering their potential, obviously. It was made by Sir Billi Productions and Glasgow Animations, both of which were created just for this film, and the same company. And going by the website, there was nothing else they made after this. And it's not surprising either. Maybe I'm being superficial to it. Maybe there is more depth to this film than meets the eye. There's only one way to find out. This is Sir Billi, Guardian of the Highlands. Ready? Oh, let's go. We open up with, oh my god, what's that?
Of his eyes.
Oh, of course, we can never forget that Sean Connery was James Bond, can we? So we get a title sequence just like a James Bond film. Just worse. Oh my god, what is happening? He's throwing a frisbee to a goat. If you're wondering, yes, that is actually Dame Shirley Bassey singing the title introduction to make it feel more like a James Bond film. It's one of the best parts of the film, and mainly because she does give it her all, regardless of what it's for. And at the age of 75, when recording this, she still sounds superb. The last time she sung anything James Bond related, it was Diamonds Are Forever, during the 60th celebration of James Bond. And she still sounded amazing, despite doing it earlier this year at the age of 85.
They won't believe in the night. I've no fear that they might desert me.
Such a solid performance. Oh, anyway, I'll get distracted. Let's go back to the film. With these filters on, it does remind me of the models from that Cadbury's Crunchy adverts from the 90s. Though they still had better animation. Once we get past the terrifying title sequence, the camera flies through the Scottish Highlands, and while the character models are horrific, the lighting in this is actually quite good, so I have to give them props for that. And as the camera rolls along, we hear Sean Connery's dulcet tones fill our ears.
And I got to thinking about when I was just a boy. Everything used to be rare.
Guessing things were a bit more sparse in Billy's day.
A rare fight. We had a rare laugh about something.
Obviously, Sir Billi grew up in more serious times. The plot starts proper and we're in an animal deportation camp. And as the sign says, it's an illegal animal deportation camp. Though, going by the wording, I can't tell if it's a deportation camp for illegal animals or it's a deportation camp that's just illegal. And guess what the deported animals are?
75, 76, 77.
That's right, beavers. Big-toothed, blue-eyed beavers.
Eating the meat from their tail and their paws, and I must tell you, yes, mighty tasty.
You did what? Though apparently beaver tail was considered a delicacy by Native Americans and early frontiers, as it's just purely fat and so really good for food in those harsh winter months. I got distracted again. And now I know how to cook a beaver tail. If I ever need to do so, if I'm stuck in the Alaskan winter. You never know.
My granny, she had a smashing soft, thick and furry coat, you know.
I beg your pardon?
Thick and furry coat, you know.
Yeah, I think he said what we all think he said. I mean, I couldn't get any subtitles for this film, so I'm just going to assume otherwise. Oh, what the heck? Well, we certainly know who the villain is supposed to be. He's even got one of those classic bad guy moustaches, which I'm sure he'd love to twirl while imagining tying beavers to some railway tracks. This is Officer Mackenzie, voiced by Ford Kiernan, who's probably best well known for the TV shows Still Game and Chewing the Fat, which he also did with Greg Hemphill, who does the voice of the other police officer, Officer McTavish. Just as the driver gets distracted by a chocolate bar, because of course he does, a rabbit jumps into the road and scares him, and going by her character model, I'm not surprised, that is terrifying. Beaver boxes fly out of the truck and fall down a cliff. Oof, those beavers took a pounding. Well, for a supposed kid film, the body count has already started quite high. Including the lorry driver. Just kidding, he's only sleeping. And the beavers are just a bit sore. They managed to get all but one beaver back in, who gets rescued by another mortifying looking bunny. Just like that, 5 years go by. Buff, what is that?
Here I am again.
Again, what is that? This flying duck is called Victoria and is voiced by Regina Regan.
I will be your captain, your stewardess, first officer. Buckle up now. Autopilot is not installed in this particular aircraft. Oh, and please remember, your parachute is under your seat.
Huh? After that avian assault on the senses, we are now in the village of Cataness, which still seems to have an aversion to beavers, unless they forgot to take the sign down. Yep, that's what every Highland town looks like if you've never been to one. Ah, that man looks like the result of a romantic night between a duck and a human. Ugh.
Mr. Banjo!
Here we see the first of many winks, nods and glaringly obvious references to Sean Connery's career, with the car saying Goldslinger on it and the butchers being called Thunderball.
Have you got any of those Mrs. Plumper's pies with blueberry?
Ah! Why can't anyone look normal in this film? This is Patty Turner, voiced by Ruby Wax, though it was very nice of the animators to base the character on her actual looks.
People so nice. Crap place to live. Full of eccentric, dodgy folk with foreign tongues and all that.
Well, eccentric is one way to describe the duck flying the plane, but still a bit xenophobic.
I should have been a detective inspector by now. Here I am, still chasing the mysterious smelly beaver.
Something tells me that once he finally gets his hand on that beaver, he'll be rid of 5 years of frustration. Here we are finally introduced to the main character of the film, Sir Billi, who has a cow on a treadmill.
Good girl. It's been a long time since I've been in a jacuzzi.
Oh yes, back when I was 007. Oh, come on, what? That was a good joke. A If it hasn't hit home already that Sean Connery played James Bond.
Geordie!
Ah, what's that?
Well, he better not be out with that Dalmatian domino again. Yeah? She's a frisky thing, that one.
Two questions to Billy. One, how do you know? And two, how do you know?
You're still looking good, old boy. Still looking great.
Either that was in the script, or Sean Connery got distracted by his own reflection and forgot the mic was on. To be honest, they had to do all of this in one take, so whatever he said, they probably just kept. Did that goat just lick the camera? The goat, that's now walking on its hind legs and seems to be either a fan of Uma Thurman or Bruce Lee, is called Gordy, or Gordon, voiced by Alan Cummings. Considering some of the films he's been in, I still think this is one of the worst he's been in. Gordy is a goat that thinks he's a dog and has just peed on the floor, and Sir Billy slipped. Kids film. Meanwhile, the beaver bothering Bobby is still on the lookout. Not much has been going on in the Highlands in the last 5 years. Honestly, if he just made amends and played with the beaver, he'd feel so much better. We jump back to Billy bumping into Patty Turner's sister, who's come to visit the UK.
May I present to you my sister, who has just flown in from Manhattan and come up all this way from Glasgow.
That's not how anyone in Scotland says Glasgow. That's not how anyone in the UK says. That's not how anyone in the world, apart from you, says Glasgow. You look like you could have played a creepy aunt in Dragon Ball Z with that hairstyle.
How do these people get visas? That's the problem with this country, you know.
Jeez, Billy. They apply for it before they get here. You xenophobic old git. Do you want to rebuild Hadrian's Wall just to keep them foreigners out? I don't know what's creepier, the old man or the goat ogling her. Either way.
This suitcase, I am so heavy. I just don't have the strength that I used to.
Well, I'm not surprised. You must have a plethora of back problems defying gravity for as long as you have.
Miss Diana, my name is William. Pleased to meet you. And indeed, welcome to Catalyst.
Yes, how could she resist that face? That old Mr. Pearhead face. We meet said beaver, who's called Bessie, voiced by Valentina Hartman, who, yes, is the daughter of the creators. And she's been taken to some sort of sport, I think. They ride logs down a slope on trash can lids. An ancient Highland sport, apparently. The obnoxious rabbit presses a lever which sends Bessie hurtling down the track.
And here we have Bessie the Beaver flying down, and look at the pointless slow-mo shot, so we can show off the fine animated detail of this character, and hoping you don't realise that
Brave was also released this year. The obnoxious rabbit, who's called Dave, feels left out and so decides to one-up her by going down the forbidden track, which, why is it still accessible if it's forbidden? So dangerous that Mum Rabbit jumps down after him, and then his grandpa, I'm guessing, goes down on a surfboard. Maybe let go of the ropes? I'd still suggest just letting go of the ropes. Oh my god, what was that? After a cacophony of awful noises and wails, Mummy Rabbit and David both get flung into the river. Well, she's dead. Bessie is the only one who can swim, so jumps in to save them. In dramatic slow-mo, of course. As that meh of a nail biter continues, we see Billy driving his Jeep and watching Gordy stroke his grandson's face. Because Billy's doing that, he doesn't see the rabbit jump into the road.
Oh, I need to hurry up. I need to hurry up.
Oof. There's a lot of animals that get seriously hurt in this film.
Bunny, watch out!
Bit late for that, Billy.
Bunny, what the devil do you think you're doing? You nearly caused an accident. You know that?
Excuse me, Billy. She didn't. You did. You, we saw, clearly didn't have your eyes on the road and you should have been able to see her when she fell into it. It's your fault. Don't go blame other people for your mistakes. Typical.
Now what's going on here?
Bloody hell, Billy. Not even an apology or at least ask if she's okay. What kind of vet are you? Bunny retells Billy what's happened and he instantly comes up with a plan.
Call Vicky on your... what do you call it? Cellular.
Cellular?
Cellular.
Cellular?
Cellular.
Cellular? You mean you don't know the word for a cell phone? You seem to have the technology to be able to create a treadmill and a machine then picks up a cow from the treadmill and puts them into what seems automatically heating jacuzzi, but you don't know how to use a mobile phone. Billy gets the villagers together and my god, what a horrendous collection of character models is that? How are the critters getting on? They're fine. McToff, which is actually a brilliant name for an upper class evil git, can't turn the turbines off because it would be too expensive. Then immediately says, after being threatened, that he can't turn them off anyway because they are automated. It would have made more sense if he just said that straight away. We would have saved more time and the film would have been over quicker. The villagers have split into groups and are now travelling to find the whereabouts of Bessie and the rabbit. And
I never appreciated it like this.
my eyes! Why are you designed like that? In this supposed kids film. I mean, what kind of fetish did the animators have? I mean, it's kind of obvious what fetish they had, isn't it? Mackenzie calls McTavish and convinces him to come over and help him catch the beaver. And there is a visual gag that I do like, that in McTavish's office they do have a wanted poster of Bessie and have her paw prints up there as well on file. That's a good joke.
Call Becky.
That's the cellular. You have a communication device, quite high tech, built into your car and you still don't know the name of it or what a mobile phone is. Or is the goat the technical wizard of the team, which just raises more questions than anything? Though goats are more intelligent than you think. Goats are part of a mammal group called ungulates. Many hoofed animals like donkeys, pigs, sheep, but other mammals as well, such as whales, dolphins, on the more intelligent side of the mammal spectrum. Sorry, I got distracted again. It just shows you how interesting and gripping this film is. Let's see how the waterlogged beaver and bunny are doing, shall we? Still seem to be going strong. Vicky spots Bessie's rabbit mum and things don't look good.
Fear elicits complete immobility. But I'm thinking that her hind legs might be paralysed.
Oh no.
No! What are we going to do?
If she can move her toes ever so slightly, there might be a chance of recovery. If not, there may be too much damage to spinal cord.
What? Well, this has gotten dark. Of course she moves her leg at an awful attempt at a tense moment. It's mainly awful because I don't care. Which sounds harsh, but you really don't get any connection to this character. Nothing's been built up about them. So it just feels forced and cheap. Billy has some form of magic potion that revives the bunny and heals all her wounds. What a vet! Mackenzie is now zooming round as well, trying to get that beaver first. Yep, totally needed that miniskirt flapping in again what's supposed to be a kid's film.
I used to keep the lookout on the Sargeuse Bar, you know.
No, I didn't know. Please tell me more, Admiral.
What is that log in the river over there?
Yes, they're there, and seems to be going down the longest river in Scotland, which, if you're curious, is the River Tay, at 193 kilometres long. Thankfully for the animals, runs through the Highlands. It's also the 7th longest river in Britain. Yeah, I've kind of learnt a lot while being distracted trying to watch this film, and I'm putting that as a positive.
The rabbit and the beaver are now heading straight for the dam!
Oh no! Oh well.
Can you imagine the impact of such increased efficiency in this parochial village?
One combines all the hydroelectric facilities.
Ah, yes. It's very annoying when you get the stereotypical nerd character in films like this.
Listen to me. I've had one hell of a morning, and I'm not taking any more nonsense.
Ugh. It's always about you, Billy, isn't it? Billy once again wants the fans turned off and again threatens someone because he hasn't gotten his way, despite the fact that McTough has already said he can't turn the fans off because they're automated. So he tells them to just go jump down to the overflow pipe and get them there. Quite a good idea. Why didn't you think of it, Billy? Whoa, where did that come from? Seems to me the beaver botherers have quite the budget. Bessie Beaver and the rabbit float towards the outflow pipe where Gordon is rushing down to get them.
Reach for me, Bessie! I've got him!
Oh, come on. You could easily stretch out and reach both of them. It's also just occurred to me, how come you've got human hands? No, can't be asked. To stop the beaver bothering Bobbies from catching Bessie, yes, I do like my alliterations, it's what's keeping me sane through this film. Vicky flies over and around the helicopter to thwart them, and somehow this causes the helicopter to crash, and we don't see how they land, or if they survive, so I think that's just added to the body count. That beaver's getting pounded in those pipes and needs to be rescued sharpish. Amazingly, Gordy has a plan. He instantly knows that there's a button there and knows what it does, which is brings out a bungee pole so Gordy can bungee jump and reference a James Bond film that Sean Connery was not in.
Thank the Lord.
Yes, thank the Deus Ex Machina Lords that they somehow knew how to reverse steer a ship from wherever they got it from to the exact point where Gordy was going to jump off with a bungee. I'm not going to question it any further. It's getting to the end of the film. I just want it to get there quicker. For some reason, Gordy jumps back onto the edge of the boat, where we've quite clearly seen him jump safely on the boat, and decides to celebrate, and then his leg stiffens and he falls into the river. So it's his own fault. Well, that's what you get for showboating. Oh, come on, that was better than the last one.
Look, he's floating away.
Seems fine to me. That's what the Coast Guard says to do anyway.
Help my Gordon! I can't function without my wee man.
Don't worry, Billy. Most men think they can't function without their wee man.
Drama, huh? Poor Gordy. Talking about cramping one's style.
Where did that come from? That unnecessary bitchy comment. Also, shh! The less I hear of you, the better. Though I do like the death stares that Bessie's giving her. Little beaver daggers to possibly want to pop that chest. All of a sudden, Gordy starts swimming, which makes the last couple of minutes of tension, again, utterly pointless.
What a relief! We couldn't cope without Gordy.
Oh, I think we definitely could. The film keeps trying to make him out as if he's the audience favourite, but he's not.
Just press the blue lever to lower him to your deck.
I'm sorry, what?
To lower him to your deck.
One more time, please.
To lower him to your deck.
You thought you said that as well, right? Anyway, Gordy is fine, Bessie is fine, and yet somehow we still have 20 minutes of this. Oh, it feels like an extended episode of a crappy TV show you'd see on CBeebies or Nick Jr. Yep, a Russian nuclear sub just appears out of nowhere.
Oh my, that sub sure reminds me of another adventure.
Get it? He's referencing the film of his with the submarine, you know? Crimson Tide?
Do believe that's a Zulu-class SS Russian submarine.
How did you know that? You know what? I don't care. You're flying a biplane, something that was made obsolete in the 1930s. So of course you could have been in the Cold War, considering that is a Soviet sub and the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. Yes, I got distracted again. It's called a biplane because it has 2 wings. I got so distracted I learnt some early aviation history, which again was more interesting than this film. As they are now stranded on the submarine, and I'm guessing it doesn't have any fuel and just can't move to the harbour, Gordy has another plan. Let's see what it is.
Drop the rope, Vicky!
Still not sure what his plan is. The rope breaks and now Gordy is free falling. Oh, well, that was anticlimactic. Billy wishes he had some of that magic water that he used on the Mother Bunny earlier. Bear in mind, he's supposed to be a vet and has done no medical things to these animals whatsoever. Just a magic potion. We get some weird flashbacks of Billy and Gordon together, like Billy trying to convince Gordon he's a goat, not a dog. Why does he think that in the first place? Gordon does this weird dance routine from Cabaret, which is very creepily sexual. And then Rocky and Casablanca references. You know, films that kids would instantly know. Were they Sean Connery's favourite films or something? Vicky comes flying in with the water that's needed. She's on the wing for about 20 seconds, and all I'm thinking of is, who's flying the plane? Yeah, that's completely plausible. I don't care anymore. Let's just get it over with. Billy gives Gordon the magical elixir, and he's as good as new. And I will save you the horror of having to look at the extreme close-ups of these worried characters' faces. Horror.
Would you hold her while I fix my glasses?
Wait, you have 2 hands. You can use that to adjust the glasses. You don't have to give him the beaver. Also, they are now on the harbour, which means that the submarine was able to move and take them there and somehow take the boat off it as well. Which means that everything we have just watched was the same amount of time it took them to get to the harbour, which again makes everything we've just gone through completely and entirely pointless. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands of films, and I can categorically say this is one of the worst animated, if not just film in general, films I have ever seen. Where's my Malort? I can't find the Malort. Mackenzie tricks the captain into giving him the beaver, and he finally has his prize.
There's only one man and one way to save Bessie now.
Yes, it's time for Billy Bond. Of course, he'd be driving an Aston Martin at DB5, because everyone knows that vets in remote Highland villages have lots of money to spend on them.
Target detected.
And for them to have their own built-in gadgets, of course. I would say this chase is exciting, but it's not.
Bovine obstruction ahead. Commence evasive action.
Is he going to knock the cow off using that boxing glove? You know what? Considering the amount of animal violence we've seen in this film, it really wouldn't surprise me. Despite all the spinning, Mackenzie is able to regain control of his Jeep and drives off. And Sir Billi just stops. What? Why are you stopping? Don't look at that cow. You were in front of it not 20 seconds ago. Plus, there's only one road. Ah! All is not lost though. He has an ace up his sleeve in, well, or should I say, the boot of his car. Are you ready for it? Yep, a skateboard. That's undeniably going to be faster than a car. Plus, he's doing tricks that Tony Hawk would be impressed by. Bear in mind, this was also the old man who got out of breath running down the hill earlier with the mother bunny. Yeah, now he can do these flips and tricks and go up and down a hill on a skateboard. Yeah, go for it. Why not? Why not? This does remind me of something. Oh yes, The Spy Who Loved Me. Another reference to a James Bond film that Sean Connery wasn't in. After jumping off plot device canyon, he lands on top of the Jeep and this just keeps going. This is not exciting. This is duller than the textures used for the landscapes. They end up at a secret naval base because that's the logical next destination. Amazing security there. During this ride, Billi was able to knock out Mackenzie, swap places with him in the Jeep, be able to drive it, and then stop it safely, all without stopping the car in between. Yeah, fine. Go on then. Whatever gets us to the ending quicker. And Billi has the strength to lift him out of the Land Rover and throw him onto the bonnet with seemingly no resistance whatsoever. Did he drink some of that water as well? Is it like the magic potion from Asterix? While Mackenzie fills in the detective, you can look at the faces that Billi is giving Mackenzie in the background. Our hero, once again. Gordon, the butler, and Mallard Man somehow appear out of nowhere. I'm guessing there's a teleporter in the town somewhere we didn't see.
Aye, right, son. Give me 5 minutes for this joker detective, and you can do what you want with me.
Bear in mind, this is the 4th time in this supposed kids' film that our hero has threatened physical harm to another person.
Officer Mackenzie, I'm arresting you.
What a twist! We have to end with a party in the pub. Because, of course, this is a British film.
Anyone see that fever? I've been dying to ask if she was the one that stole my balls.
Nope, not gonna go there. Ah, yes, Billi, of course, has to make a speech too.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
And, of course, she's there.
I have a few words I'd like to say.
So she, whoever she is. Seriously, how sexually repressed were the animators? Had they never seen a woman before?
Today brought us many things. Fear, sadness, certainly nervousness.
Anger, frustration, confusion, and more anger. After Billy's speech, which does meander a bit, they finish with a song. What's happening? I have no idea what's going on. I know in practically all animated films nowadays, which is something I still have not forgiven Shrek for making popular, they all have to end with a song and a dance, but this... This is something else. This is creepy. Just so creepy. Plus, if you didn't see him the first time round, they re-show you the Spaniard character. Well, at least they didn't try to use his character from Zardos. Oh, well, I just gave myself nightmares.
I have a little surprise for you.
Oh, yes, so your wee man is still working, I see. Anyway, that is the end of Sir Billi, and what a pile of beaver dung. It is the most horrible looking film I have ever seen. It's not colourful, the character models are mortifying, the gravity defying jiggle physics on the women are just inexplicable, the writing is beyond terrible. It's unfunny, boring, the plot meanders and it doesn't know what it's trying to do. Characters are terribly written. The lines are just bizarre and there are just far too many plot holes. This is just a love letter and a massive ego stroke to Sean Connery. Like I said, it's one of the worst films I've ever seen and definitely one of the worst animated ones. Sorry, I've got to take this. Hello? Yeah, I'm just filming. Did you read the script? Yeah, what do you think? What about beavers? Don't you like beavers? I do. Yeah, they're wonderful animals. That's also the name for what? In America? Those dirty Yanks. What do you mean it's also used over here? Hang on a moment. No, for fuck.